Hey everybody. Hi. Hey y'all, I know it's 1 o'clock. I'm gonna go ahead and put the screen up. Just in case they start. I just checked and they were just saying the court will resume shortly. But hello everybody. Too much going on today. Hey Lexi. It's too much going on today. Hey Aaron, please like the live as you come in. Hey Shavana. Hey Rita. I was about to say good morning, but it's the afternoon. Good afternoon. Hey Tiffany. Hey Karen. Hey India. Hey Crystal. Hey Phoenix. Hey Ebony. I'm just smiling. I missed y'all. Hey Jasmine. Hey Ronnie. How are you, DJ Mommy? Hey Crystal. Hey T. Hey Haley. Hey Sharonda. It's definitely roll call time, India. Hey, Missy K. I didn't see you on X. I just figured I would have seen you when this verdict came out, Kay. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Miss Cherie. How you doing? Hey, Davia. Hey, Kristen. Hey, Nikki G. Hey, Jaleesa. Hey, Sugar. Hey, Candy. Hey, Nene. Yeah, I'm still wrapping my head. It's just too much going on today. Too much going on today. Good afternoon, Megan. Hey, Melanie. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Shalon. Hey, Miss Jones. Hey, Purple Bayou. How are you? Hey, Too Pretty. Thank you. Hey, Gina. Okay, let me tell you. I think I'm gonna have to mute Diddy. I'm gonna have to just mute the word Diddy. I'm gonna give it 72 hours, and I'm just gonna have to mute it. I'm gonna have to mute it. You know, yeah. I will. I think I feel like how anti-Karen Reed feel after they got that verdict. But I will say, for me, I'm just going to have to look at everything again because obviously there was something that I missed when it came to like the law. So hey, Isis, I'm just gonna have to see. I probably missed something. I probably just missed something, and I'm okay with people like when people try to make the argument they don't feel like they present enough evidence. Okay, cool. I could take that. But people like dismissing everything. I miss y'all. I missed y'all too. Mary said the RICO charge was a mistake because of previous trials. Like Maris, it's like I get the RICO. When I looked at the predicate acts again, I understood why they saw RICO. I think the mistake may have been not putting those co-conspirators up there too. Maybe that was it. I don't know. Maybe that was it. Maybe their understanding of RICO, like in Georgia, you can have a one-man RICO, but maybe their understanding was just like where the rest of the people at. I don't know. Miss Cherie, exactly. We just gotta respect it. Hey Tia, Tania, how are you? We just gotta respect it, y'all. Maybe today we'll figure out what trial we're gonna watch next. Because now I'm back. I'm not going anywhere or anything. So figure out what trial we're gonna watch next. But Jasmine, just stay off X. I just shared a post that said it's too many women saying some really wild shit. Okay. And I listen, if y'all feel that they didn't prove the case, fine. But why do y'all have to double down on it's DV as if that's okay? Hey, Zakia. India, we gotta respect it. We have to respect the jury's decision because we don't know, they were the ones that had to be they had to prove this case to them, not us, to them. And they didn't do it. They didn't do it. Kay, I have been seeing a lot of stuff about Ken Reed. Hey, King Jiggy. Ken Reed. Yo, okay, let's talk about it real quick because we cool over here. Have y'all been seeing the somewhat drama with Ken Reed and Turtle Boy? It's been really weird on X, and I haven't been on there as much because y'all know I've been traveling trying to get my house together. I'm in the gym, all this stuff right now. X has been kind of weird. Like, I remember when she was found not guilty, I saw a post from Turtle Boy just basically alluding to a movie, right? And then we see like a big post from like a major network or a major outlet that I think she has a movie. Correct me, Lexi, I know you've been paying attention. Lexi, does it feel like there's like not a separation, but a separation? Like Yannetti and Alessi are together, and then there's Karen Reed and AJ. Does it feel like that to you? Oh, AJ's going to be on Turtle Boy's YouTube. That's good then, because Yannetti put under there, people were saying like, it was wrong, and Yannetti was like, listen, he was an invaluable resource. So I don't know. It's a movie, Aaron. I'm talking to the other Aaron, Too Pretty. But this Aaron says, I might disagree with the verdict, but if the state didn't prove their case, then that's how I feel, Aaron. That's not the jury's fault. Agree with that too. We didn't like it when people disrespect YSL can't read verdicts. Listen, Aaron, I have said this so many times. I'm trying to wrap my mind around the verdict, but at the end of the day, I was not in that room. You got to respect the jury. They are the ones that the government had to prove their case to, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. Karen Reed and AJ aren't doing interviews because they won't make as much off the movie if they tell. Miss Davis, that's interesting. Hey, girl. Hey, Skin Tone. So, Skin Tone, I just saw this yesterday. Oh, it was a car accident. I didn't know how it happened. I was going to tap into it. I saved it yesterday. The AJ has a new case. Hey, kids. It ain't been 10 years. Oh, God. Yes, y'all. Ash K said she had a dream AJ came to take her braces off. Keep in mind, she doesn't have braces. She done made AJ an orthodontist now. Ooh, Deb, that's going to be good. People were saying that. Okay. Kay said, I don't think AJ and they're separating themselves. They are still one unit. Okay. Just some shit coming back and folks reading between the lines, especially with Michael Easter on YouTube talking. Hey, Mikhail. You could be right, child. I can't wait to see what happens. But when I tell you this, though, when we get into these trials, like when you're really into the trials, I do get how sometimes it's hard to like move past it. I do get that. There's always going to be something that reminds you of the trial. But when I tell you it's people online, I don't think they ever going to move past Karen Reed. You got to move past it. You've just got to. The jury has spoken. You know, the crazy thing about this community is there is always a trial going on. There is always something. I don't remember YSL when we finished it because that was the biggest case I'd covered, before Karen Reed. I don't remember people being this up in arms almost 2 weeks after the verdict. You just got to move on, The jury has spoken. We have to respect the process. No matter how we feel about it, we're not on the jury. The Diddy verdict is mind-boggling to me. But it is what it is, baby. It is what it is. This is it. Now, will Melanie ever support the man? Never. And you won't see me buy anything associated with him. That's my personal preference. But he's allowed to go live his life after this case. He's allowed to do that. Now, will I support people who support him? Hell no. Baby, it's a good unfollow, mute, not buying anything. But that's me. Okay? But we just got listen. It is what it is. Oh, Phoenix. I forgot she still has the civil case going up. I was up and comes. There was no more mail. T. Well, after the Karen retrial, which I know you guys know, I've talked about this before. I do like to take a break, because this is like a full-time job for me. So I like to take a break, baby. I just sit in the house. Y'all know I'm talking for 8 hours a day, and although I love to talk, when it becomes your job, you need a little break, child. Finally bought me a bedroom set. Trying to figure out. I finally bought a couch for my place. I finally got to do those things, and then my son was here for a week, so we kind of hung out too. But child, now I'm like, okay, it's time for me to figure out what's the new case we're going to do, because I'm home with the exception of like weekend trips, and I'm going to Disney at the end of the month for Kylie's birthday. But outside of that, I'm here. So now I'm trying to figure out, well, what are we going to do going forward? But I have to take a break, y'all. Hey, Bia. I have to take a little break, child, and just sit here. Listen, I just sit, Ash, when we done talk, baby, I talk, I will group chat, I will text, but child, just talking, baby, don't call me on that phone. Don't call me on that phone, baby, because Melanie's probably, don't call me on the phone. My people know it, but my family is so used to me streaming, girl. My phone died yesterday, and I turned it back on. I had like 4 texts. Hey, are you streaming right now? Because that's it. That's my job now. They know. India, we're going at the end of the month, and I'm not ready for it. I don't think I'm gonna last long there. I think I'm gonna go take some pictures, eat some food. Luckily, her parents will be there, child. I'm gonna leave, Kylie. Kay, okay, Kay, let's talk about it. Okay, Deb, and I'm trying to get stuff like that together, like trying to plan out content, plan out. Like I told you, I want to do my bowling party. I have to plan all this stuff out. I can't do all this at once, but I've been planning, trying to make sure that people are getting the benefit from the channel, right? I didn't get them, Ash, but I think I'm deciding. I hate to say this, but I think I'm gonna take a little backpack. I'm gonna take a picture of my shoes, but I'm gonna get me some good walking shoes. Okay, Zakia, I'm gonna be there from Tuesday to Saturday. I'll text you. I'll be there from Tuesday to Saturday. Okay, let's talk about this, y'all. I had some notes. I hope I didn't delete them. Which one? Maybe in this one. With this case, people were saying that the evidence was planted, right? What I didn't know, there was a mountain of evidence. Okay, y'all. We'll talk about it when it goes off. Now, Kiss, it ain't been damn 2 months now. Y'all, look at him. Oh, this is some bull. Bye, Aaron, talking about Santa.
All right, this is CR0124316665. Defendant is present in custody with counsel, Ms. Thompson, Ms. Jennings, and Ms. Taylor, Ms. Massoff, and Ms. Barlow. The state's present with Mr. Thompson, Mr. Horowitz, Ms. Jennings, and Mr. Nye is here as well. Am I miss anybody? I'm sorry.
Ms. Allen is here as well.
Ms. Allen is here as well. Very well, thank you.
Oh, this is crazy.
All right, we are here today to entertain a change of plea. Before I start, I want to address some issues of concern and otherwise. First, I appreciate everybody in attendance today being on their best behavior. Please, no outbursts or demonstrations Any such conduct will result in immediate removal and may result in an inability to attend further court proceedings in this case. I want to point out that there have been calls by some for the public to contact me and my office in an attempt to influence my decision-making in this case. This has been extraordinarily disruptive for court staff and the ability for them to get work done, not only in this case, but in other cases where defendants are entitled to have their cases processed, and frankly, as important, if not more so, for victims to have their cases processed in those cases. It's also highly inappropriate. The court is not supposed to, and this court will never take into account public sentiment in making an opinion regarding its judicial decisions in cases. Courts should, and I always will, make decisions based on where the facts and the law lead me, period. I have not read any of the numerous messages, nor listened to any of the numerous voicemails that have been sent to me and my staff. Those have all been forwarded to security and, where appropriate, to law enforcement. I ask that you not continue to mount such campaigns or to send me information like this, because again, it is not appropriate and frankly not something I would take into account when deciding a matter in a case like this. I also want people to understand some very basic concepts about the ideas of separation of powers, what the court's duties are, and what the duties and the rights of the executive, or in this case, the prosecuting attorney, is. The executive, the elected prosecutor, is the sole authority in deciding what charges to pursue, including whether, as well as what penalties to ask for, and what penalties to pursue, including the death penalty. This court cannot require the prosecutor to seek the death penalty.
That is true.
Nor would it be appropriate for this court to attempt to do that. This court, in considering a plea agreement, if it were to reject this plea agreement, cannot force the state to seek the death penalty.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
My role and power in considering a plea agreement is extremely limited. My role is to ensure that the defendant's plea is given freely, voluntarily, and intelligently.
Big Lou.
If those things are met, I can only reject a plea, such as the one in this case, where I'm not being asked to agree to the sentence in advance. If I can only reject it, for example, if the defendant does not meet or admit to all of the elements of the crime. That is, I can ensure what is called a factual basis to the plea. Finally, I want to offer my apologies to all the families, including the victims' families, the families of the defendant, for the short notice for today's hearing, and I'm sure what must have been the hurried efforts to get here. I, like most everyone else, learned of this plea agreement Monday afternoon and had no inkling of it beforehand. Prior to that time, I was under the belief that this case was proceeding to trial, as had been indicated, and my staff and I were busy continuing to work on preparations to have potentially 10,000 citizens of Ada County come to jury duty starting in mid-July, with the questionnaire process in mid-July. It was, once I learned of the defendant's decision to change his plea in this case, it was important that I take the plea as soon as possible because of the extraordinary administrative efforts that were otherwise attendant to the process of this, getting this trial potentially underway on time and including the significant process of bringing, again, potentially up to 10,000 jurors to come in and fill out juror questionnaires prior to the beginning of the voir dire process. And so it was important that we, if we're going to go down this road, do so expeditiously so that we can avoid those costs and expenses associated with that. Otherwise, if it was not going to result in a plea, or if for some reason the plea were to fall through today, that we could continue diligently towards trial at the time specified. And so that obviously required that we act quickly. And so some folks may have not had the amount of time that we would otherwise allow for them to travel here. And so, again, I apologize for that.
Oh, well, that's nice of him to say.
I want to make people aware that during the hearing, if you are to leave the courtroom for any reason, you will not be readmitted during the hearing. Also, when we finish the hearing this morning, I ask that the public and media wait in their seats until the victims' families and the defendants' families and others are escorted out of the courtroom before you start to leave. Finally, I want to acknowledge the trial court administrator and her staff, the Ada County Sheriff, and the Ada County 4th District Marshal Service for the huge lift that they've accomplished in preparing for and orchestrating this hearing today, as well as to all the security attendant today that you see, and some of whom many of whom you don't see, with less than 48 hours notice. And so I appreciate the hard work that they've been doing. Frankly, some of them while they were on some vacation prior to the trial starting and had to call that short. And so I appreciate very much their professionalism and dedication. All right. That said, let's move to the business of today. I understand the state and the defense have reached a plea agreement in this case. For the record, I have a written plea agreement which indicates in sum, the defendant will plead guilty to all 5 counts in the indictment: burglary, felony, and first-degree murder, 4 counts. The state and the defendant stipulate, that is, that the defense is not free to argue for a lesser sentence at sentencing to the following. The defendant on the burglary charge will be sentenced to 10 years fixed, and that the defendant on counts 2 through 5, the 4 counts of first-degree homicide, on each count would receive a fixed life sentence, all 5 of those counts to run consecutive to one another. Defendant, as part of the plea agreement, waives his right to appeal, as well as his right to appeal the sentence and his right to seek leniency or reconsideration of the sentence under Idaho Criminal Rule 35.
Yeah, that's why I know he's guilty. That boy he can't even appeal.
This is not a Rule 11 agreement, meaning the court is not bound by the plea agreement and could impose a different lawful sentence at sentencing. The stipulated agreement between the parties is the maximum on each count. So theoretically, the only thing the court could do would be a lesser sentence at sentencing. But the defendant is not free to ask the court to do so under the plea agreement. Are there any other material terms of the plea agreement that the parties would like to make? Obviously, the plea agreement, the written plea agreement will speak for itself and be part of the court record.
Not from the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Right, very well.
Hippler, he is guilty. He is guilty. That man said, I agree. I'd never try to get out of jail. He's guilty.
Taylor, have you had sufficient time to discuss this case and all of its ramifications with your client?
Oh, they do, Aaron? Okay.
Have you discussed fully with him his rights, defenses, and possible consequences to him of the guilty plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you been able to do all the discovery you feel necessary?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you informed your client of the importance of providing the court truthful and accurate answers in taking this plea today? Have you apprised your client of any and all offers and counter offers and answered his questions about those?
Yes,
Do you consent to the entry of the plea today?
I do.
All right, Mr. Kohberger, I need to ask you some questions this afternoon, or I guess it's this morning still. I do this to ensure that so that I am assured that you understand the nature of the charges to which I understand you're going to plead guilty, as well as the possible consequences to you of your guilty pleas. I want to make sure your plea is given voluntarily. And I want to make sure that you actually committed the crimes to which you're pleading guilty, because I don't want you to plead guilty to a crime you didn't commit. If you attempt to plead guilty today, but for some reason I don't accept your plea, then it is possible that your statements today could be used against you later at trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And now, while you're standing, actually, why don't you take the oath from the clerk?
Thank you, Aaron.
Yes.
All right, and Mr. Kohberger, just to make it easier, you don't need to stand when you speak to me. I appreciate the sign of respect, but for convenience, you can remain seated, all right? Before I start asking you questions today, have you consumed substantive questions? Let me ask you, have you consumed any alcohol, drug, or other intoxicating substance that would impair your ability to understand or exercise reasonable judgment?
No.
You feel like you are thinking clearly today?
Yes.
All right, I want you to understand what the possible penalties are for each of the crimes to which I understand you're going to offer a guilty plea today. They include, on count one, the burglary, a fine of up to $50,000 and a period of incarceration of up to 10 years in the state penitentiary. You may be required to pay restitution to any victims of the crime. Count 2, 3, 4, and 5 for first-degree murder. The consequences include a fine of up to $50,000, a period of incarceration of life imprisonment, which is a requirement of a sentence, that it be a life sentence with a mandatory minimum sentence of at least 10 years on each of those counts. In addition, you would be potentially responsible for a fine of up to $5,000 to each of the victims of your crime, to be enforced in the form of a civil judgment, to operate as additional punishment. This is in excess of any restitution or fines that the court could order. And again, you may be required to pay restitution to the victims of the crime. You would be required to provide, as to counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, a DNA sample and a right thumbprint impression, and potentially pay for analysis of those samples. You would lose any right to possess, purchase, or carry a firearm, the right to serve on jury duty, the right to hold public office, and the right to vote. Do you understand the charges and all those possible consequences?
Yes.
You've heard the plea agreement that I talked about today. Do you agree with that plea agreement?
Yes.
And do you understand the nature of the charges that you've been charged with, that I understand you're going to plead guilty today to?
Yes.
As as I indicated, I'm not bound by the plea agreement, but the plea agreement is for the maximum on each count. Do you understand that I'm not bound by the plea agreement?
Yes.
Has anyone promised you that I would be lenient or easy on you if you pled guilty?
No.
Has anyone threatened you or anyone close to you to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Has anyone other than the state's agreements with respect to the plea agreement, has anyone promised you anything in exchange for your plea agreement?
No.
Has anyone told you to be untruthful in answering my questions today?
No.
Oh, it is so disgusting.
Has anyone offered you a reward of any kind other than the plea agreement in order to get you to plead guilty today?
No.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Okay, I was waiting. Damn, this is crazy.
And counsel, obviously there have been a number of motions filed to suppress evidence in this case. Other than those filed, are there any other motions that you felt were available with respect to Rule 12?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Kohberger, you understand that by entering the guilty plea in this case, you would be giving up your right to appeal any decision this court made, as well as your sentence.
Yes.
Yeah, I just can't believe it. He said, "Are you pleading guilty?"
Have
because
you had enough time to decide whether or
Yes.
not to plead guilty?
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Given your choices, do you believe it's in your best interest to plead guilty?
Yes.
Have you discussed fully the matter of pleading guilty with your attorney, and are you satisfied with the advice you've received?
Yes.
Has your attorney advised you to your satisfaction about what your rights are, what your defenses may be, and what the
Oh, this
possible
is
consequences to
bad.
you of your guilty plea are?
Yes.
Has your attorney done everything you've asked them to do?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with their representation of you?
Yes.
I have received a written guilty plea advisory
This is sick. Why
questionnaire
do that?
that is purported to be filled out by you. Did you fill that document out?
Yes.
Did you understand the questions that you answered in this document?
Yes.
Hey,
And are
Summer.
the answers that are outlined in this document your answers?
Yes.
Are those answers truthful?
Yes.
Did you sign the document?
Yes.
Why would you do this?
And this document outlines many of the rights that you have in this case. Should you not plead guilty, did you understand those rights?
Yes.
They include a right to a jury trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They include a right to the presumption of innocence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You have the right to require the state to prove your guilt as to each element beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They include a right to confront your accusers and cross-examine witnesses presented by the state, including by utilizing the subpoena power of the court to accomplish that. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand you would have a privilege against self-incrimination and a right to remain silent, meaning you would not be compelled to testify if you
Thank you,
did not
Aaron.
wish to, had you not pled guilty.
Yes.
You
I
understand you're
agree.
giving up that privilege and those rights that I've just outlined by pleading guilty.
Yes.
All right, I want you to understand what the state would have had to have proven at trial had you, to the crimes that you're pleading guilty to, had you, if you didn't plead guilty. Let me find the document. Hang on a second here. All right. So as to count one burglary, the state would have to have proven that on or about November 13, 2022 in Latah County, Idaho, you unlawfully entered a residence located at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder. As to count two, the state would have had to have proven that on or about that same date in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogen, from which she died. As to count three, the state would have had to have proven that on that same date in Latah County, at that same address, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Kaylee Goncalves, a human being, by stabbing her, from which she died. As to count four, the state would have had to have proven that on or about that same date in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being, by stabbing her, from which she died. And then as to count five, Also murder in the first degree that on or about November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being, by stabbing him, from which he died. Do you understand those things the state would have had to have proven?
Yes.
And do you understand that by pleading guilty, the state no longer has to prove those things because you're admitting those things are true?
Yes.
I want to also make, for the record, the defendant has provided with the guilty plea advisory form a document entitled Written Factual Basis that purports to have the defendant's signature dated 1 July 2025. Did you sign that document?
Yes.
And did you agree with the written factual basis that is included there?
Yes.
And then let me ask you, did you, on November 13th, 2022, enter the residence at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder?
Yes.
Did you,
It's
on
just
November
sad.
13th, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being?
Yes.
I don't know why
And
they
did you do that willfully,
emotional.
unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
Did you honor about that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Kaylee Goncalves, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
Ooh,
And did you on that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
And then on or about November 13th, 2022, again in Latah County, Idaho, did you kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being?
Yes.
Did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
I would ask the state at this time to provide its
Done.
recitation of its factual basis had this case gone to trial.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the organization of the recitation is different than what I think the court and the public may be familiar with from the probable cause affidavit and other documents. The state's evidence, as an overview, would show that back in March of 2022, when the defendant was residing in his parents' residence or residing back in Pennsylvania, his home state, he purchased online a K-bar knife and sheath with an Amazon gift card that he had purchased shortly prior to the purchase of the knife, sheath, and sharpener. Jumping ahead, the end of June of that year, the defendant, Mr. Kohberger, moved from Pennsylvania to Pullman, Washington, which is right across the state line from Moscow, Idaho, for the purpose of pursuing a PhD in criminal justice at Washington State University. The state's evidence would indicate that beginning July 9th of 2022, Mr. Kohberger's phone began connecting to a cell tower that serves the area of the 1122 King Road residence in Moscow, Idaho. Now, I will acknowledge for the court and all present that there are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants. Between July 9th of 2022 and November 7th, the defendant's phone connected to that particular tower during late night, early morning hours, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. on approximately 23 times. Now, I will acknowledge also, we do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122, but we can put his phone in that area on those times.
I can appreciate him saying that.
In the interim, on August 22nd of 2022, Latah County Sheriff's Deputy Darren Duke conducted a traffic stop in the early morning hour or late evening hours, about 11 p.m. On the west side of Moscow, on the Moscow Pullman Road. This was a traffic stop of Mr. Kohberger's car, which turned out to be a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plates. During the course of the traffic stop, Deputy Duke was able to obtain Mr. Kohberger's name, Bryan Kohberger, his phone number, and his address, which at that point was an apartment address in Pullman. We then move to the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. The state's evidence would show that early morning hours on that day, Mr. Kohberger's phone left his Pullman residence, which is an apartment in kind of the central northwest part of Pullman. That phone was then subsequently turned off at approximately 2:54 a.m. and remained off until approximately 4:48 a.m. on Sunday, the 13th of November. The state's evidence would include at trial video surveillance of a business on the Moscow-Pullman Highway, just across the state line from Moscow. It would show a vehicle matching the description of the defendant's Hyundai Elantra entering Moscow at approximately 3:02 a.m.
What is
Compiled
it?
surveillance that the investigators put together from businesses and residents then show the defendant's car, the white Elantra, as I've described, circling the 1122 King Road area, that neighborhood, starting around 3:30 or so in the morning. Comes into the immediate area of 1122 King Road, which is actually on a dead end, and then leaves several times. And approximately 4:05, the state's evidence would include at trial video surveillance of a business
It's the
on the
streams.
Moscow-Pullman Highway, just across the state line from Moscow. It would show a vehicle matching the description of the defendant's Hyundai Elantra entering Moscow at approximately
Oh, Court
3:02
TV has it
a.m.
too. I swapped it.
Compiled surveillance that the investigators put together from businesses and residents then show the defendant's car, the white Elantra, as I've described, circling the 1122 King Road area, that neighborhood, starting around 3:30 or so in the morning. Comes into the immediate area of 1122 King Road, which is actually on a dead end, and then leaves several times. And approximately 4:05 that morning, the defense car had entered that area, was leaving, stopped at the intersection of King and Queen Road, did a U-turn, and the state's evidence would show that the defendant's car came back and parked behind and above the 1122 King Road residence.
Wow.
The state believes that its evidence would then show that the defendant entered the residence of 1122 through the kitchen sliding door on the back side of the residence, which is the side of the
Yes.
residence that would face the area above where the defendant's car was parked. Defendant entered the residence, went to the third floor, and with a knife, killed Madison Mogen and Kaylee Goncalves. The defendant, as he left that room, for whatever reason, ended up leaving, or the sheath for a K-bar knife was left on the bed next to Madison Mogen's body. And I can jump ahead.
Yes.
That sheath was tested by the Idaho State Police Forensic Lab, and single source male DNA was found on the snap of that sheath, as well as blood from both Kaylee and Madison and other trace evidence. But it's important to note single source male DNA was on the snap of that sheath. The state's evidence would show that Xana Kernodle was still awake at this time. In fact, had taken a DoorDash order not long before this started. Her room was not on the third floor. It was on the second floor on the west side. As the defendant was either coming down the stairs or leaving, he encountered Xana, and he ended up killing her, also with a large knife. Ethan Chapin, Xana's boyfriend, was asleep in their bedroom, in her bedroom, and the defendant killed him as well with a large fixed blade knife.
Right.
Each victim suffered multiple wounds. I will state for the record that there is no evidence there was any sexual component or sexual assault on any of the victims. I want to make that clear so there's no speculation. There were 2 other roommates in the house, and they were already asleep. During the course of this, one of those roommates awoke, looked out her door not knowing what was going on, and saw the defendant, who was dressed in black with black balaclava on, holding some sort of container in his hand. And she saw him leave the house through the direction of the kitchen where that sliding door is that I mentioned before. At approximately 4:20 that morning, so this would have been 15 minutes or so later, defendant's car is seen on a surveillance camera for 1112 King Road, which is immediately next door to the west.
How is he gonna beat all of this?
Leaving the area at a high rate of speed. And if the court were to see that, or anybody in this courtroom would see that, you can see the car almost loses control as it makes the corner, heads north, and then turns to go south on Walinta, which is one of the only ways to get out of that part of town. The evidence would show that following that, the defendant in his Elantra drove south of Moscow. We know that he drove on the back roads because there are surveillance cameras on the main highways, Highway 95, that would have picked up the defendant's car if he'd gone that route. And they did not show the defendant's car on that route during the time. So we know that he went through a variety of back roads in very rural, isolated part of Latah County.
This is man.
About 4:48 that morning, the defendant's phone comes back on. And the evidence will show that that phone was located south of Moscow, likely at a side road intersection with Highway 95. From there, the defendant's phone activity tracks heading back north towards Pullman, Washington, where the defendant lived. About 5:26, starting approximately 5:26, various surveillance cameras in Pullman, Washington pick up the defendant's vehicle as he enters Pullman from the south and heads north and slightly west towards his apartment, where he arrived at approximately 5:30 in the morning. Later that morning, Sunday, the 13th of November of 2022, Mr. Kohberger's phone returned to the area of King Road. We don't know exactly what he did, but it returned to that area. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. He was there for about 10 minutes and then returned to his Pullman residence. About 9:30, the state's evidence will show, evidence taken from the defendant's phone, that he took a selfie of himself on his phone.
Yeah, I got that
What
picture.
appears to be the bathroom of his Pullman apartment with a thumbs up.
Great, I got that picture, y'all.
The defendant's phone then went to the Lewiston-Clarkston Valley, approximately 30 miles south of Moscow and Pullman. And the defendant is actually seen with his car at various businesses
insane.
down there. This area is the confluence of the Clearwater River and the Snake River. Lewiston is Idaho's seaport. Large bodies of moving water down there. In addition to tracing the defendant's activities, as I've just outlined on the 13th and leading up to the 13th, the state's evidence will show that following Sunday, November 13th, 2022, business records show that the defendant began searching for a K-bar knife and a K-bar knife sheath, as the state believes to replace the one that was left at the scene of the murders. The evidence also will suggest that there were at least attempts by the defendant to delete or alter his purchase history on Amazon, where all these transactions had occurred. Later that week, the state's evidence will show that Mr. Kohberger went to what we would call DMV, motor vehicle licensing here in Idaho, in Pullman, to change his car registration from Pennsylvania to Washington.
What?
That's of note because Pennsylvania cars do not require a front license plate. The vehicles seen on the surveillance cameras of the defendant's car showed it didn't have a front license plate on it. At the time of the traffic stop by Deputy Duke in August, it was Pennsylvania plate, no front license plate. Mr. Kohberger proceeded to finish his semester of studies at Washington State University and returned to Pennsylvania for the holidays.
That's sick.
Law enforcement at this point were aware of Mr. Kohberger, had been accessing information about him, were trying to find him. They located him in Pennsylvania, and they conducted what's called a trash pull. During the nighttime hours, agents of the FBI, who assisted immensely with this case, working with the sanitation department back in this neighborhood in Pennsylvania, took trash that had been set out on the street for collection, sent the contents of that from the Pennsylvania residence of the defendant's parents to the Idaho State Forensic Laboratory, where the lab experts there were able to identify DNA on a Q-tip as coming from the father of the person whose DNA was found on the knife sheath that was next to Madison Mogen's body in the bed.
The father of
Subsequently,
his
an arrest
daddy.
warrant was issued here in Idaho, and a search warrant was issued in the state of Pennsylvania with the assistance not only of the FBI, but the Pennsylvania State Police. Mr. Kohberger was arrested at his parents' home to return to Idaho. Upon his return to Idaho, a DNA sample was taken from him, and it matched the DNA found on the knife sheath next to Maddie's body at the crime scene. I can tell the court and the public, the weapon itself, the knife, has not yet been recovered. I can tell the court that the defendant's apartment in Pullman was searched, as well as his office. Spartan would be a kind characterization. There was virtually nothing there. Nothing of evidentiary value was found. And of course, we are now talking 6-8 weeks after the time of the killings. In Pennsylvania, the defendant's car was seized, and it was actually pretty much disassembled internally. And it also had been cleaned. There was a bucket of cleaner right beside it. I think we can all look to our own cars, you know, in those compartments in the doors. You can try to keep them clean where you put stuff. There's always some degree of crud in there. They were spotless. The
Spotless.
defendant's car had been meticulously cleaned inside. And the state would present to the jury that that was part of the defendant's plan in covering up this. The defendant has studied crime. In fact, he did a detailed paper on crime scene processing when he was working on his pre-doctorate degrees, and he had that knowledge and skill. So, Your Honor, at the end, the state submits that the evidence that I've given just a quick overview of, and that to present in court would consume weeks, which the state is prepared to do and has been prepared to do, would show that as the defendant has just admitted and pleaded guilty on November 13th, 2022, excuse me, Mr. Kohberger entered the residence at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. He did that with the intent to kill. We will not represent that he intended to commit all of the murders that he did that night, but we know that that is what resulted, and that he then killed intentionally, willfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice forethought, Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle. Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
that's so sad. Baby, I'm sorry. I'm almost feeling like the parents.
All right,
They put him in
based
front of
on
the firing
the
squad.
state's proffer, and importantly, based upon defendant's explicit admission to committing these crimes, the court finds there is a factual basis. Therefore, with respect to count 1, burglary, felony, how do you plead, Mr. Kohberger, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 2,
Man.
murder in the first degree, as it relates to the murder of Madison Mogen, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 3, as it relates to murder in the first degree for the murder of Kaylee Goncalves, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 4, the first degree murder of Xana Kernodle, a human being, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 5, the first degree murder of Ethan Chapin, a human being, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Right. The court will find that the defendant understands the nature of the charges and each offense and the possible consequences to him of his guilty plea. The court finds that there is a factual basis for the plea and that finds the defendant believes the plea to be in his best interest. I find that the plea was given freely, voluntarily, and was intelligently made. I accept the plea. I direct that it be entered. I'll continue the matter for sentencing in this case. I think it was mentioned on the call Monday afternoon, the defense wishes to waive a pretrial investigation. Is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
The state also?
Yes, Your Honor,
don't
the state does
care.
not believe pre-sentence investigation is needed, given the evidence that is available. We want to, though, make sure that all of the victims have the opportunity to make statements to the court at sentencing.
Absolutely. And certainly both the state and the defense may present whatever sentencing memorandum and other documents you wish me to consider. The victims will be given an opportunity to provide the statements that they wish to at sentencing. Do we need more than one full day for sentencing?
I do not believe so, Your Honor. Obviously, we have numerous victims, and we have victims who share unique perspectives on this, and we want to make sure that they all have time to express their feelings to the court. But I believe that if we can start perhaps 8:30 or so in the morning, that we should be able to complete it all in one day.
Defense agree with that in terms of the time frame?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So as it
Yes,
happens, we have some
Nicole.
time reserved in this case in July and August. The week of July 22nd is available. I don't know if that's too soon for the parties or the next week, the week of August 4 is available. Any preference?
Your Honor, we're prepared as soon as the court wants to schedule it.
The state, I believe, would be prepared on the 22nd. We've told the victims' families that we're looking at approximately those dates.
All right. So because of the plan to bring in so many jurors to fill out questionnaires, I had ordered that no other trials could take place in this courthouse the week of July 22nd. And so we will use that in terms of the sentencing date because of what I'm sure will be the significant interest of the media and the public and the logistics that will be required to make that happen. Without trials going, it'll be a lot easier to do that. So let's pick that week. Why don't we pick July 23rd with the idea that if for some reason we don't finish, we could continue into the 24th. We'll start at 9 in the morning. Does that give your team enough time, Sandra? 9 in the morning? All right. Any concerns with that date?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, sir.
All right. Any reason why I should not rescind the non-dissemination order at this time?
You're right. I think that given the history of this case, it would be best if that remained in place through sentencing. So we have time to make sure there's the ability to completely answer questions. That would be the state's preference and recommendation.
We'd have no objection for the
Angie.
order to remain in place through
All right.
sentencing.
I will, at this point, the idea to keep it until sentencing, which time it would be withdrawn in order to give the parties space and time to prepare to meet what I'm sure will be the deluge of meeting requests. That's at least my preliminary decision at this point. We can always revisit if it seems to be, for some reason, I should. That said, obviously, I don't think the defendant, a bond was ever set for the defendant. Were it would be revoked. The prior order allowing him to come in civilian clothes is revoked, given his plea and no longer the presumption of innocence. And in fact, now the actual conviction for the crimes.
Put him in them
He will
shackles.
continue to be held at the jail pending sentencing. Is there anything else to say?
Put him in that orange jumpsuit.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
I assume that the trial date will be vacated
trial
and those
is-
4 jurors will be released.
The trial will be vacated and I'm sure that the jury commissioner will get word to those that receive their summons that they won't be required to attend. So
Thank you, Your Honor.
that said, again, if you would all please wait for the parties and the victims' families and others to leave the courtroom before you do, I would appreciate it. And with that, we're adjourned.
Now let's see if those are the people.
All right, please.
They took it right off. Damn, whoever handling that Zoom don't play. Zakia, I think it was Ash. Do you guys see kind of understand what the case was about? What was new for me was I had no idea. I knew they had the Amazon purchases. I knew they saw that he purchased it. When I saw that they had the video surveillance, I didn't know that was from the house. I didn't know that was from the house. Ash, he didn't know these people. He did not know these people. And people on, like within my comments, have made statements like he wanted to be known as Ted Bundy. He wanted to be a known serial killer. And I'm starting to believe that. Maybe he got too wrapped up in his studies and actually wanted to test it out. Now, I don't know, and let me let you guys hear this, because my daughter and I were talking about this, and I love to see what you guys feel about this 911 call. There was a roommate who survived. The roommate who survived, this happened at like 4 a.m., right? The roommate who survived, y'all, the 911 call didn't come in until 11 o'clock the next morning. Now, people asked some really good questions in the comments, because we can put it on, y'all. We can watch it in the comments, because people were asking, why did she wait so late to call the police? And if you listen to the call, she basically is saying, like, my friend didn't wake up. It was 2 roommates. It's 2. Okay, there are 2 roommates. So when I was listening to the call, y'all thought it was a neighbor. So 2 roommates, not 1. I was trying to understand. On the call, they seemed so calm, and they kept saying, my roommate went out. She's not waking up. So I kept wondering, where is the blood? If he stabbed everyone, no one on the call said there's blood everywhere. Let me just let y'all hear it. I watched it last night. I was watching Law and Crime because I knew this was coming up. So I started watching. It's the one that's 22 minutes. Let's look at that one. No, it's the one with, hold on, y'all. Okay, here it is. I like Jesse, y'all.
Blood has just decided to plead guilty after a 3-year legal saga, right on the eve of trial. Why do this now? And especially after he tried to point the finger at others? We're going to break it down. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Bryan Kohberger plans to plead guilty. That is a...
Let me say this, Nicole. Mariah and I were having this debate, and we'll watch it. This is not it. We're going to watch it. We were having this debate. The debate for me was, if she went back to her room, even if you had to whisper, why didn't you call 911 right then? You know? Why? Mariah's mindset was, I would have been so scared that he would have come back for me. I would have probably been in shock and just sat there. I'm like, your first thought isn't to get help. You know, that's not your first. But listening to Mariah said she just would not. She said she understands. I don't know. Hours later. Hey, Tiffany. Hours later. And okay, hold up. I want you guys to hear it though, because I just, hold up. What was this? Okay, here we go. Listen to the call, y'all.
911 location of your emergency. Something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
Panic and fear from the surviving roommates in the Idaho murders as audio of the 911 call is
Oh, yeah.
hearing the 911 call. The surviving roommate.
Okay, here we go.
What is the rest of the address? Oh, Kings Road. Okay. And is that a house or an apartment? It's a house. Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right? I'll talk to you guys. We live at the White, so we're next to them. I need someone to repeat the address for verification. The address, 1122 King Road. And tell me exactly what's going on. One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up. Okay. Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night.
Okay, listen to that. God damn it. Hold up, y'all. Okay. Did y'all hear that? One of the roommates passed out and there was a man drunk in the house. None of that registers for me. None of that registers for me. Okay, keep listening. It's giving Jen 911 call.
Someone to repeat the address for verification. The address, 1122 King Road. And tell me exactly what's going on. One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up. Okay. Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah. And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone. Stop passing it around. Can I just tell you what happened pretty much? What is going on?
Okay, wait a minute. Nicole. I said Nicole. Oh, well, yeah, Nicole. Nicole, are you saying the friend that was passed out drunk is the second survivor who was going to get the neighbor? Because that might help me. Wait. I think Nicole is explaining something that can help us. It sounds like, right, I know that's the neighbor, y'all. I know that's the neighbor who took the phone. She said it. I'm the neighbor, boom. But Nicole, are you telling us that the person who was passed out? Okay. Thank you, Nicole. That helps me. So let's talk about it. Nicole is saying that the person who was passed out drunk is one of the survivors. And Nicole is saying apparently she passed out trying to go get the neighbor. Okay. The passed out one was dead. Somebody come up here. We're going to listen to the rest of the call. Nicole or Yates, come up here and help us out. Okay. Because Yates just said the passed out one was dead.
Currently, is someone passed out right now? I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m. Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out? Yeah, I'll come. Come on, we gotta go check. No, we have to.
Hold up. Hey, Yates.
Hello.
Hold on. Hey, Nene. So maybe these were two survivors. They said it's two survivors. And when she said,
Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way.
ooh, Elaine, that is strange. I go next door to get help. I'm gonna tell y'all, last night my alarm went off. Well, not my alarm. I didn't have the alarm on. My alarm system, you know, the sensors on the doors Mariah opened the door. Well, she came in the house. I heard it open from upstairs. So I go downstairs like, hello? And she was hiding. And I walked on down the stairs like, and I happened to see her hiding. She was like, you have no survival skills, because if it was someone, why didn't you walk out the front door? Why were you going to run back upstairs? I'm like, to my phone. She's like, no, run outside. So running to the neighbor, I get it. You know, this was a situation, but on the call, it didn't sound like they were saying anything happened. Maybe had they not gone upstairs, do y'all know like what was going on?
Yes. So they did go over because Ethan is a triplet. And so they were in Sigma Chi, and his twin brother was in Sigma Chi, and that's one houses that was right beside their house. So they went over. The reason he doesn't say there's a shit ton of blood, and he even mentions this later, is because he doesn't want to freak everyone out.
Everybody else doesn't know.
He sees how bad it is.
Oh.
He does not want to freak out the surviving roommates and the other people that came there.
Okay,
He sees how bad it is.
Hold on, babe.
He doesn't want to say there's a fuck ton of blood because he's protecting everyone that's standing behind him. He will not let them go in that room, and I believe he even shuts the door. Yeah, the one that was breathing. I mean,
the one who was.
He sees how bad it is. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He did not want to freak everyone else out.
Thank you. Okay. I was like, why? So the other girls at the time in this 911 call, they'd only seen the friend who passed out. They didn't even know. Wow.
They did not know.
Context. Okay. Wow.
They did not know. And he did not want to freak them out. And he did not let any of them go in there because he was trying to protect them.
Wow. Yes. So when you first heard about the case and when they arrested Bryan, did you automatically assume he was guilty?
I mean, I always
assume he was guilty. I don't let's not say that. Did you think that there was a possibility that he committed the murders?
Do I think there was a possibility? Yeah.
Yeah, when they started like giving evidence, putting it out there.
Yeah. At some points I had reservations on if he did it alone.
I've seen people say that too.
But
I've seen people say that too.
Overall, he's taking a guilty plea. I will, when I get off work at 5:30 and go live on TikTok, I have stood firm on this. This is the best case scenario. This plea.
From what I can see, Yates, and I've been watching a shit ton of like coverage on it since he's going to take the plea and there's no trial. I just think, look at this. I mean, this case today shows you that you don't have a slam dunk case. A jury has a mind. They have a mind of their own, and you never know. There could have been someone on their jury who thought he was innocent, who could have. Aaron was bringing up how they collected the DNA samples, who would not have been okay with that.
And I don't love how they did that.
That's what Aaron is saying.
Again, this is the safest bet. And I'm not going to say that any of however the victims' families feel, their feelings are valid. I get it. That's fine. I do think ultimately this is absolutely best case scenario for everyone.
What I keep saying, Yates, is, they're upset that he won't get the death penalty, right? This man, as far as, because someone was on my comments, he could hurt someone in jail. Okay, okay. But I mean, in this world, in the free world, he will never see the free world again. He will never see it. I think that's a win.
Here's my point of view on that. Is with this plea, he is not only getting life without parole, he is waiving his appeals. That right there is insanity. He's waiving any appeals. If you were to go to trial
for a lesser sentence, he said he won't argue for a lesser sentence too. I said
he's getting life without parole and waiving his appeals. Also, even if he were to have gotten the death penalty, he would drag them through appeals for the next 20 years. The last execution in Idaho, I believe, was done in 2018, and that person had been on death row for about 29, 30 years.
I said that too, yeah.
So the fact is that he You do not have to waive your appeals when you plead guilty. No, you do not. You do still have appellate rights. So now you don't waive them, just when you plead guilty. The death penalty is, he still gets visits with his family. That doesn't change. And it doesn't change the fact that it's not immediate. It's not going to be
It's not like tomorrow.
exactly. It could be hell, that's if they ever even carry it out. Again, the last one was in what, 13 years ago? 13 years. And that person had been on death row for 30 years.
I literally said, I think Erica may have put this under one of the comments. She said, getting the death penalty. I mean, all he's avoiding is death with an expiration date, because most people stay on death row, like you said, 25, 30 plus years before it's ever carried out.
Also, he's safer on death row than he is with this plea. I mean, he'll be put in protective custody for a while, but I mean, it's honestly, life without parole is worse than the death penalty in the vast majority of cases.
I just after looking at the evidence they had, and I know you're innocent until proven guilty, I was very interested to see what his defense would have been. I looked on Law and Crime yesterday, they talked about he tried to do the third party culprit, but he tried to use 4 suspects who've been cleared by the police. DNA excluded them. And the judge was like, you just can't accuse people and point the finger at someone just because you think you can do that. So I don't know what was going to happen. I don't know.
So I mean, it's just, with this plea, there's finality. There's certainty. And Summer and Aaron, that may be state to state, but I know there's plenty of states where you do not waive your appellate rights when you enter a guilty plea. Now, the time you have to appeal it is limited, but you do still have appellate rights. They're just limited. So, I mean, he's waiving all appeals, which again is huge because the families aren't going to be put through that.
I know Aaron said that, and for me, when I heard, and this just as a layperson, I said, why would they mention that if he didn't have appeal rights? For them to mention that, in my mind, I thought that was a big deal, because I'm just thinking for them to say it on the record, then that means he's giving it away. And to me, it means, in my mind, it made me feel like he's just guilty. He's like, I'm just going to go to jail. I don't want to even try to appeal it. You don't even want to try to appeal it?
Well, I mean, to get an offer like this, you're going to have to waive some things.
Do you think he's going to say anything at the sentencing here?
No, I don't. And I know people are like, well, we want answers. Probably wouldn't have gotten the answers you wanted at trial.
I think we got him. For me, him sitting there admitting that he's guilty was enough for me. It was enough for me. I'm not going to lie to you. A piece of me was sitting here like, Lord, what if this man get up there and say, I changed my mind? I said, what if he gets up there and say that? They mentioned it when I took my plea. Then my lawyer told me if I accept the plea deal, I can't appeal it, but I guess it's different in different states. Oh, Summer said they told her this too.
And that's absolutely very possible.
Summer.
And for at least where I am, when you enter a guilty plea, the time you have to appeal is very limited. Like your notice of appeal Georgia, stop chewing on that. I'm so sorry. It has to be done within 30 days or within the same term of court. So, I mean, you do have limitations, but depending on where you're at, it all depends.
It made me think about thugs. I just remember them saying it, but with Bryan, I hear what you guys are saying about the appeal rights, but I'm gonna tell y'all, when they said that, hey Brianna, I was like, oh, he is absolutely guilty, because he's giving them everything. I won't try to appeal it. I won't get in front of you and try to ask for a lesser sentence. And did you guys also hear that there will be no reconsiderations? He's saying, listen, I don't even want you to think about trying to let me out down the line. I don't know what more we want. I hope this does at some point give the family some closure, though, because I do understand they lost someone. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm happy that it's over, but let me ask Yates this, since you and Aaron have been following, everybody else who's followed it. Do you guys think him studying criminology, do you feel like that played a part into what happened? I've seen people say this, that they believe he was really trying to live up to some of the serial killers that he studied on a day-to-day basis. Do you guys feel like that?
I think it made him more careful. I think in the way that he I think it led to how he went through with it. And how, because from my understanding, there were people that were at the house that night that I don't think originally were going to be, and so there were variables he didn't account for, which led to the sloppiness and the leaving of the sheath and things like that, because had that not happened, they wouldn't have had anything. They would not have had any of his, that is the only thing in there that had his DNA on it. I mean, that was his fatal mistake.
I could see that. I think he's trying to practice what he's learned. And let me tell you what I thought was, I don't know the word I want to use right now, but what was interesting was them saying when they found his car was immaculate. Even had the cleaning products in the car. And then he wrote a paper on crime scene investigation, like cleanup. I'm listening like, oh.
And again, I agree with Aaron. I don't think he was getting his degrees to commit this. I think it was an interest, because I mean, I was criminal justice, a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice and Forensic Studies. So I mean, I also had to do some papers like that. So I mean, that doesn't shock me. But I do think what may have started out as an interest in really wanting to pursue these degrees turned into an obsession. But I don't think he was getting them to do this. I think I
don't either.
Probably was an interest that turned into an obsession.
I don't believe it started out that way. I'm like you. I think it was an interest, like you said, that turned into an obsession. But a lot of people, I kept wondering, like, why them? Why? Because from what I saw, it sounded like he picked a random house and this happened. No, he was stalking them. It sounds like he was stalking them. The fact that they've pinged his cell phone near their home so many times. I mean, yeah, he could have been somewhere else, but what's the likelihood of that? And I do appreciate the prosecutor saying, hey, we are aware that there are other residences within this area. I can appreciate that. Nicole, that's the real question. Has he done this before? Nay. Going back to Yates saying that this may have turned into an obsession. When I was watching this Law and Crime, let me put it in here, y'all, because I'm gonna put it in here in case anybody wants to watch it. They were talking about that when they searched his phone, he had all of these pictures of women, and some of the women were friends with some of the girls inside of that home. Maybe in doing his research, he learned that all of these people lived in the house together. And versus me going to a girl who lives by herself, I would have the challenge, sorry to say it like that, not trying to be insensitive, but maybe I'm just wondering if this was his psyche. I would have the challenge of multiple people in a home. I don't know. But they said that he had all of these pictures of the women, because I just couldn't. I said, like, if they didn't know him, why did he pick that house? He may have chosen them for that very reason. It was
a party house. Everyone was in and out. It's a house that doors aren't always locked. And when you've got a house that you know that doors aren't always locked and people are always drunk and people are in and out of that house and the people who live there may not even always know who's in their house. And that's why when they said that someone was in the house, it's
wow.
probably not super unusual that people were in the house and they didn't really know them.
And I can't stand them damn sliding doors. I'm gonna tell you, sliding doors creep me out. Okay. I don't know why sliding doors creep me out. Like, I love to see them. Love a nice patio. But sliding doors, I don't know if I just don't feel like that lock does enough. I don't know what it is, but when they said he came through the kitchen sliding door, here I go. That's why I don't like them.
Well, and that's the thing is, I think a lot of people fail to realize that they were, again, very young college students. Because I agree with Ash K. I mean, in college, the houses that I went into where I had no clue who actually lived there. I mean, you had the known party houses that anyone was welcome, and you always knew that something was going to be on, and they were right beside a fraternity house. So I mean, and you didn't know if you had multiple doors, you would normally leave one of them open because what if someone forgot their key and needed to get in? I mean, you get too comfortable with things like that, and you don't always take those precautions, especially when you are intoxicated. You are 19, 20 years old, thinking that it's a very safe town because not much happens there.
Yep.
And you take that for granted. And
I'm going to say this because you guys are making me, I'm talking about the sliding doors. When I wouldn't leave my doors unlocked when I'm in it. But I mean, sometimes I'm like, damn, somebody may have left the key, or I need to come by your house. I'm leaving. Okay, I'll leave it open because, like you say, Yates, I think sometimes we take for granted what we don't think about. We don't think about what could happen because I'm in a safe place, right? It's a safe neighborhood. I feel like the neighborhood I live in now is nicer than my previous neighborhood. It was very quiet where I used to live at. This is nicer. But baby, I don't know why now. I went about an alarm system. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's from covering cases. I don't know. But I do feel like sometimes we take for granted that something can happen anywhere. It doesn't matter. What they say in Marvin Sapp voice, lock them doors. You have to lock the doors. So hearing that he slid in through that sliding door. And I think someone said here that the young lady who ordered the DoorDash, she didn't even get to eat her food. It happened at, hey, Forrest, my doors are unlocked. He said, I got 2 dogs. Smitty and Weston. Oh, Forrest, I wish, child. I hadn't got to that point yet, but I need to get them same 2 dogs. You stand outside if nobody is here to let you in, Davia. I do get it. As you guys were talking about the unlocked doors, I'm like, now I'm talking about unlocked doors, y'all, but I can't stand open blinds. Open blinds scare me bad. At night, close your blinds. I'm not having my blinds open. Male, you are single in Atlanta city limits. You need security. I live in Gwinnett. Aaron. They don't really come out here acting too crazy. But I'm gonna tell you this, Aaron. I'm not sure what it is, if it's covering cases or what, because I lived in my last apartment 5 years, never had an alarm system. All I had was my Ring. Child, I got a Ring doorbell, alarm system, got a camera in the front room. I'm not even sure why I need all of that, but I have it now. Brianna. My blinds are open right now. They're open right now, but just leaving them open all day? No. No, I got she said I have ring cameras, security cameras, Glocks, and a doodle.
That doodle's not doing shit except chasing its own tail.
Let me tell you this now. Barchi might not do anything, but she definitely gonna let me know you're downstairs. Okay? She's not on her medication today, y'all. So that's why you been hearing her bark. I miss the old Barchi. I miss her so bad. But yeah, I don't know. Yates, how did you feel hearing him? Because it sounds like you've been following the case. How did you feel hearing the guilty plea? Like him saying yes, it made my heart drop every time he said it.
Sometimes being in this field, it kind of makes you a little numb to things like that. So I'm probably not a good person to ask that, because I get the severity of it, but I also didn't have that same like heart drop feeling, because I'm very jaded to it.
Yeah, I get that. For me, it was hard. It just, I think because there were 4 lives, even if it was 1 life, right? It's just the fact that he just seemed, and I know it probably, I think they've said he has autism or something, but I also think he doesn't have remorse about it. He was
also prepared by his attorneys.
Yeah.
Very prepared of the only thing that you answer is exactly what the judge asks. And that's it.
I get it. I know, Yates. I just hated hearing it.
I know. I mean,
I hated it. It was just so, like you said, final. It was so final, like death is final. It felt, I was tearing up listening, like, oh, like he is saying, I did it. He is admitting to killing 4 people. 4 people. Just, he didn't even have to do it.
And I will tell you, the judge probably will not ask why.
He probably won't. Nope. I'm
sorry. You will probably never get that answer.
Yeah. There was an attorney talking about that yesterday. Barchi, come back. Go back. Just saying how he just has to admit that he did it. He has to. They have to meet the requirements for whatever what he's being charged for. You have to ask him, and that's it. I don't think I want to hear why. We will never be okay with what he says. We'll never be okay.
And honestly, he may not even know enough. I mean, some people are just bad people, and there's not really a reason sometimes, and that is very hard to grasp. But some people are just bad people, and they don't always have a rhyme or reason.
I wish Barchi played with toys.
No, you don't.
She want to play with.
George is over there having. Absolutely not.
Y'all, Yates is going to be live on TikTok at 5:30.
Yeah, 5:30 Eastern Standard, because I've got a client meeting at like 3:30, and then after that,
it's going to be live at 5:30. Y'all, Miss J and I are going to be over there too. I'm gonna get off. I need to go do somebody's hair so that I can make it to the TikTok live on time. I think for some people, it's their makeup. You might be right, Missy.
And Amanda, why would you drag it on? Just say, "Oh, I'm guilty," because
he probably didn't want to.
It's very possible there wasn't an offer, or it was an offer where the death penalty was still on the table. And until you've got an offer that you're willing to take, the state has to prove it. And so you're going to start preparing like you're going to trial, and you've got to have these hearings. You've got to have some of those things. Ultimately, you can change your plea of not guilty. And that's what he's done at this point, because he got an offer that he was willing to take.
He
And that
asked for
involved a
this.
guilty plea.
And let me say this to Amanda. I was watching in Law and Crime say that some motions have not gone in his way here lately.
Mm-hmm.
The judge wasn't letting him do the third party culprit defense, right? So damn, that's out the window. He tried to delay his trial. The judge said, listen, you haven't given a sufficient reason why we should delay trial. We're still going to trial. They are not prepared because now we're scrambling. We can't blame these other people. What defense are we going to use? There was the whole thing with his autism and trying to use that. Like nothing was going their way. So the defense came back again because I think ABC reported it was the defense who came and asked for a plea again this time. Mm-hmm. They're like, listen, my boy he's going to get the death penalty. They probably had to weigh it. There's a mountain of evidence, and then he didn't have an alibi. They said he did not have an alibi. You see his car on video surveillance. You have his DNA evidence. You have all of this other, him trying to change his text. Remember, the case hadn't started, and listen to how we were listening to what the prosecutors were saying. Like, damn. So how would they have proved it at court? We don't know, but they felt like this was their best bet.
And even if it's not, and I'm going to go over this a little bit later, but even if they think that they can do everything beyond a reasonable doubt with no issues at trial, you have to take into consideration the two surviving victims. And when all of the families are divided, you have two that are pissed about the plea, you have two that are accepting of the plea, and then you've got the two surviving roommates who would also have to come and testify. Yeah. This plea keeps them from having to testify and be re-traumatized. You have to take all that into consideration. And some people have said, well, the prosecutors are bullshit because of this. It's not an easy decision to make. This is not something that was done lightly, but you have to take everything into consideration. Well, and you can't just say, just because two of the families are pissed, there's more that goes into that decision.
Well, the judge the judge said, listen here, we're not going to go for that. He said, I'm the reason we're here today. Because I felt like, and he is right. Think about, I hate to bring her up, think about how much money they spent on that Karen Reed trial for her to be found guilty of DUI. I mean, hell, look at the Fed case with Diddy, prostitution. You are saving money. Either you're saving your taxpayers money by taking this plea deal. And he said the administrative costs, get him in here and let's quickly get him back to get sentenced and we'll be done with this case. I understand. And I appreciate both sides, honestly, because the defense could have taken this to trial knowing good and goddamn well that man was guilty. They could have, but I appreciate it. Summer, listen, I do. I understand their feelings and emotions because they lost someone. I promise. Let me tell you, I have a cousin. Years ago, he was killed by a woman he was dating. And I didn't look at all the facts of this case, so I'm just telling by what family said. She ran him over with her car, and I think he was stuck in between the car and the house. I think it was like her first offense or something like that. She's out of jail to this day. My cousin is dead. But we have to understand that the justice system, it works how it works. And I don't feel like we got justice, right? But then as I watch cases, you start to understand that these are things that are taken into account. Him and her had been arguing, all of this type of stuff. And it's just, I've been on both sides with things, and we're never going to, like, as a family, you're never going to like it because it's never enough. Mm-hmm. We lost someone, right? We lost someone. They lost someone.
Nothing's ever going to, Georgia, nothing's ever going to bring them back. And that's why I'm like, I'm not going to invalidate their feelings, because whatever they're feeling is valid. Like the anger, the frustration, fully valid. I do think in the grand scheme of things, though, this keeps them from having to live through this for the next 20 years. I mean,
or longer,
Yeah.
consistently. You know how you watch shows and people might be in jail and then they're up for parole. So every time they're up, the family has to be there. Please don't let him out. I'm begging. That's a lot to go through, man. She said Georgia wasn't even Marching Man.
I'm not kidding. It's because I was at the jail all morning and then was at the office and I came home to do some work. And so now she's out of,
Wow.
they're out of daytime jail and like, she's just having a fucking ball.
Wow. I'm sorry, Ash. I did not know that, Ash. I did. Listen, do you think I'm trying not to cry, but I feel families. But like we said, it'll never be enough. When we were at the wedding over the weekend, like we were sitting there like, dang, he is supposed to be here. Our cousin is supposed to he's not here. And you know, when we looked at the case, it seemed like she went through his phone. My cousin was very popular in Memphis, handsome. Women always wanted to date them, like they just the popular guys. He was older, and all of us knew he had this main chick, but he would date other people. He's older than me, so it wasn't like I was in the mix, but we knew this about him. I knew his main girl, but she lived in China. She's black, but she worked in China. And the woman found out he still was dating her. They argued, they got into it. I don't know if it was like a fist fight, but they got into a fight and she ended up running him over with her car. She was able to go in and use all of that in her defense, and she is walking around to this day. So I feel for the families. At least this man is going to jail and he won't be out. My cousin's killer, baby, she's walking around. She probably got her feet kicked up in her bed right now. You know, she probably. So I get it, man. When with Ash, she lost her brother. That man gets to walk around every day. So I don't ever want to seem like I am. Even when it came to Peggy, I felt for Peggy with John. I just, I feel in that case I didn't see the evidence, but I understand families like, man, you have to live with the fact that your person was taken away. You'll never get over that. Your person was taken away. Mm-hmm. So at least in this case, man, that man is behind bars. And I hope he gets some Jeffrey Dahmer type. I hope he gets some karma like Jeffrey Dahmer. Okay, but he's gone. He'll never be able to hurt another person outside those walls. You know what the man gonna do in jail, but outside those walls, he'll never be able to do that again. Oh, Ash, I think so. I love that, Ash. She said, oh, she said, somebody know what you were talking about. She said Jesse's lips are hilarious. I looked on the screen. Oh, and I got him like that. Oh my God. Oh God, that is so funny. But yeah, I do understand. I'm sure I'll look at some things after we get off because I'm sure I think this was the biggest news. I'm muting Diddy. I don't want to hear anything else about the Diddy.
Is he getting released?
I don't know. They said the judge coming back at 5.
Oh, 5?
I think so. Yates. Because listen.
I think so.
As they said, he was not convicted of a violent crime. I don't care how much violence, which is crazy to me. They showed tons of violence.
But they didn't convict him on it.
He was not convicted though. The man is going home. Mm-hmm. That man is possibly going to be gone home today. Mm-hmm. There is a chance that y'all remember how Brian Steele and Keith Adams picked Thug up. Baby, there's a chance Brian Steele and Agnifilo will be driving him home today. I really do think that's probably what's going to happen. At this point, I just think, karma will do its job. But that man is going home.
Mhm.
He is going home tonight. I do. I don't see it. And I think people were saying like his attorneys will probably appeal the convictions he did get, which will that delay his sentencing?
I believe the defense is going to be asking for a delayed sentence while the appeals are pending.
Okay.
That is what I heard. I could be wrong. I don't know. And
What's this month, Yates? This is
July.
This is July. I'm trying to see what award show, because I'm like he'll be at the next award show. He's going home. The only thing that happened to him, his reputation might be ruined, but that man is going home. Aaron, I think so too. So I think that man will be on Instagram tonight. He might have the biggest Instagram live out. He better go to Bali with Simmons. Ash, here's the thing. I don't think he's going to be sentenced anytime soon.
So federal sentencing is typically 4 to 6 months.
Yep. And then they'll probably delay it longer if they need to. Miss Marilyn, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Miss Marilyn said no one will be his parties. Yes, they will. I was watching the Nelly and Ashanti show, and Nelly said, it's not about who's in office. I respect the office. So no other president asked me to perform. What will happen is they're going to be at those parties, and we're going to drag them online. And then they're going to make a post, and the post is going to say, he was found not guilty on those charges. That is not the man that I know. He's never been that man. That's going to be their excuse. They are going to be there, and their excuses will be that he was found not guilty. And they're going to say, we respect the judicial system of the United States of America. That's what they'll say. It just be prepared. I'm just telling you now, be prepared for some of your faves to be at his party. If he gets out of jail, what's today?
Second.
Oh, if he gets out of jail, that man gonna have the biggest 4th of July party ever. Yeah. You know what, Emily? I don't even want to say Bryan still be anything. I think the the government lost. I don't think it was no great lawyer, because again, when I was looking at the cross-examinations, they didn't have much to really go off, right? I really do think people just couldn't see those women as victims. Mm-hmm. They just couldn't see them as victims. I have friends like my friend. I told y'all my friend today told me. She told me I might as well be next. I said, what? You ain't never had a man pay you? No. What are we talking about? But the way my friend sees it is that they were in a relationship. They did freaky things together. And it is not the government's place to try to police what they do in their bedroom. That's how my friend sees it. Destiny. Gina being out of hiding confirms what I've thought. She was paid to hide. She was paid to go away. She came out once the jury started deliberating. Gina was paid, okay? Hold on, y'all. Let me see. Aaron, let me pull that up. I haven't heard this case that you got. Have you heard this case, Yates, they're talking about?
Mm-mm.
I'm trying to pull it up. Child, hold up, y'all. Y'all look cool.
No, but I will after this meeting. I'll look at that.
Of what it's gonna look like when certain people at the top don't like somebody, don't like something.
Y'all, what is
who was that?
Okay. Why is Ray J on TMZ right now? Jane was very hard for me to see as a victim as well. Jane sounded like someone who felt like this is what I need to do for this man to love me or like me. And I'm going to do it because I want to be his number one. Jane, it was very hard to see Jane. She didn't go through what Cassie went through at all. She did. She just didn't. I know Brandy just said about her brother. Okay, let me get this link that Aaron put in. Got it. Yeah, okay, y'all, but has 50 made it coming? Probably not. Jane was jealous, and Jane is a person I think who was doing what she needed to do to be with this high value man, as people would call it. I just think that's just what it is with Jane. Hey, Krona. She said 50 made a statement. Jury did not believe those women. Emily, with my friend, the debate that we've always had is I think that people had a tough time seeing Cassie as a victim because she went along with those freak offs, and she admitted that she liked them. She enjoyed doing them. They had a tough time seeing when she switching it off from the yes to the no. You know, I don't think the state did a great job of showing times when she absolutely did not. You know, even, talking to him when you're not in the middle of a freak off and you're saying, I don't like doing them, I don't want to do them anymore, wasn't as strong as maybe if they had video evidence. And think about all of the freak offs they showed the jury. I hadn't seen any reports that in any of them, he was abusing her. He was forcing her. He was making her do stuff. I think that's what the jury needed to see to feel that she was forced. I feel like him beating her was enough. I personally, Mia saying that the man had raped her, I thought it was enough, but the jury didn't agree. I think so too, Marilyn. Hold up, you said Miss Sylvia was on that shade room. She said not guilty. That's okay. Miss Sylvia probably live right now. There's Miss Sylvia. There's another lady I remember from YSL. It's hard for me to Barchi. Y'all, please hold it. Okay, here she goes. It's hard for me to take women serious. If you say he's not guilty based on the law, okay, cool. But some women are just going too far with their Diddy congratulatory train. Like, yeah. but yeah, I'm gonna get off here because I do have to go somewhere so I can be back. Yes, I'm gonna see you at 5:30, girl. Thank y'all for joining.
AKA 6:15 because you'll be 45 minutes late. Okay.
I'll be on there. Bye, y'all. See y'all later.
Bye.